According to a report from the New York Times, it seems that one sector of the Ukrainian economy is thriving: energy drinks. Just why do soldiers on the front line absolutely adore these things? And did this start with Ukraine, or did it date back at least to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this I thought was really interesting. Kind of fun, but really interesting. And this article from the New York Times is discussing how in Ukraine there are dozens of energy drink brands that are absolutely adored by soldiers in the trenches. With names like Burn, Monster, Nonstop, Hell, Pitbull, and Volia, the both Ukrainian-produced brands and some of the good stuff from overseas is all highly caffeinated and highly popular among Ukrainian troops. In fact, they even have some crazy flavors that we don't have over here: cotton candy, cactus, even cannabis. Even more names: Jungle Boost and Stalker. I love it. They say you can see the cans tucked into ammo vests, right? If you know, one Monster can will fit just about perfect into a two magazine pouch. Of course, they're stuck in backpacks on the backs of tanks and crushed empties piled in trenches next to dead Russians. Ukrainian companies, of course, love marketing them to troops, and troops love buying them. And I think this is really fascinating for a bunch of reasons. First off, as one of the energy drink executives points out, civilians all in Ukraine also need those energy drinks, right? Their sleep is very disrupted by the constant air attacks, anxiety, right? Worry about loved ones on the front line or their own personal safety, and just a country that doesn't have enough workers to do all the work. So all of that really creates perfect conditions for energy drink consumers. A lot of these energy drink companies are actually donating their product to the Ukrainian military just to sort of capture that market. They said, according to one other shopkeeper, he said before the war, no one was buying it at scale except for truck drivers. Now, what's fascinating, well, there's a couple of reasons. They talked to one soldier named Psycho, or call sign Psycho, who describes that. Let's see if we can find him here. As a reconnaissance person, he says, quote, "When you have to walk 3, 4, 7 kilometers carrying 40 kilos of gear, you're sweating, you don't have much to eat, and you haven't slept in days. If you don't drink it, where are you going to get the energy for that final push?" Right? He says, quote, "In the morning, I wake up, I drink an energy drink. When I head out on patrol, I drink an energy drink. Before an attack, I drink an energy drink." And one of the things that is fascinating, is that they're just so incredibly, incredibly popular. As one soldier points out, they feel that these are healthier than some other, I guess, options for caffeine. They say also energy drinks in the Army are not just a drink, but the most popular gift. Psycho describes actually at one point taking a piece of shrapnel just a millimeter above his eye. He was disoriented, bleeding, and in shock. He says, "I crawled back to a position and found a can of Burn. He guzzled it and felt better immediately." Now, here's what I'll tell you guys. When I was deployed to Afghanistan, we also consumed a frightening amount of energy drinks. It's for the same reasons these guys do. You're on a very high octane schedule. You need to maintain a high level of alertness continually. And frankly, the only way to do it is to consume caffeine. I will tell you, I adamantly opposed consuming caffeine until we deployed, and I realized even during things that are boring, like sitting in a truck driving down the road, you have to be alert and focused and dialed in. And that's sort of the dangerous intersection, is that a lot of combat, sort of by definition, happens at a time when you least expect it, right? That's what a good tactician does, right? The enemy is going to attack when they think that their opponent is ill-prepared. So by definition, sort of, the enemy is going to search for times where you are lulled into a sense of security. Early in the morning is a classic tactic that dates back 300 years. That's when the night shift is at its most tired. They're ready for the day shift to take over. and that's when they're going to lose their focus, right? Similarly with IEDs, right? If sometimes insurgents would have favorite spots, but more often they would put IEDs in places where the U.S. military forces were not expecting them, were not ready for them. And that danger meant that you had to be laser focused, but what actually happened 99% of the time? Nothing. And so that's hard. It's like, imagine if you had to watch a blank TV screen continually for like 8 to 12 hours at a time, and you knew that if you didn't see the moment it turned on, you would be killed. That's sort of what it feels like. So you can see why energy drinks are just so essential. But it's more than that, right? Because let's look at the nutrition facts of a Monster here. In one can of Monster, it's got 300 calories, all carbs, a little bit of sodium, all of its sugar, almost no protein, and 182 milligrams of caffeine. That's 2 cups of coffees. But here's what's fascinating. You notice here that this little chart says for the average person, they would have to run for 29 minutes to burn it off, or briskly bicycle for about 41 minutes. But here's the takeaway. Running at 6 miles an hour is a brisk jog. But if I was to throw, 80 pounds of gear on, well, let's take a look. Let's use hiking as an example. Hiking with a pack, calories burned. Boy, buckle up, right? They say it depends on a lot of factors, but I can tell you. They say at least 200 calories more per hour if you've packed a 50-plus liter bag to the brim. Okay, here we go. Outside Magazine has a good one. It's a calorie count estimator. Oh my God, just give me a calculator. Here we go. 150-pound hiker, right? Hiking speed at about 3 miles an hour. That's a pretty brisk 20-minute mile. 2 is more typical. But you can see calories per hour. It gives you about an hour, depending on pack weight. As your pack weight increases, 40 pounds, and they're describing 40 kilos of gear, right? So 40 kilos of gear, you're looking at about 80 pounds of gear. So even if you're going 2 miles an hour, you're going to burn about 300 calories. You're going to burn this whole thing in an hour, right? So you see why combat calories just reflect a different need, right? Your body has to work extremely hard when you're operating under a lot of gear, and you combine that with the fact that you need to maintain a level of focus. You notice it also has sodium, which is, bad for the average sedentary adult. But when you're losing sweat, you're losing sodium. That is what it is. It's electrolytes are just like sodium and potassium. And that's 2 things that a Monster has. So it's actually going to give you simple sugars, right? Energy your body can access quickly. It's going to give you sodium, potassium, and it's going to give you caffeine. So, plus it gives you B vitamins, which are something you usually get from animal products, but they're also needed if you really are deficient in vitamin B12. You'll start to feel like fatigue and brain fog. So again, you have to work pretty hard to get there. But if you are a soldier, that may actually be the case. So you see then why energy drinks are so popular among soldiers. What I will tell you is when I was deployed to Afghanistan, we had a very intense period, particularly in the first 90 or 120 days that we were deployed, because we were told we had to open a brand new forward operating base and also continually conduct patrols. So we would literally, a typical soldier in our platoon, it was only our platoon that got assigned this, they would have to do an 8-hour guard shift, a patrol over 8 hours, and they had 8 hours to rest. It was very, very intensive. The only way you could get that energy boost you needed and to stay focused and dialed in was caffeine, was energy drinks. And so we would put in orders for energy drinks, our cook would. And there was one time where we actually got a phone call from the central logistics hub that fulfilled a lot of the ordering. And they said, yo, we noticed there was an error in your order. You added a 0 to the number of energy drinks you ordered. You're about a 200-person FOB we saw, but you ordered more energy drinks than the 2,000-person battalion FOB headquarters. And our people, our chefs had to say, yo, or food specialist or whatever had to be like, nah, that's right. That's right. Our guys, the average soldier at this FOB puts down 2 of these energy drinks a day. And we were using what were called Rippets, right? Rippet is a brand of energy drink owned by National Beverage Corp. Also the owners of La Croix, which is fascinating. And it was introduced in 2004, right in time for the global war on terror, making it National Beverage Corp's first energy drink. Marketed as energy fuel at a price you can swallow. Boy, the DoD loved hearing that. They were considered the bare budget option, often costing as little as $1 a can in the United States. Again, 20 years ago. And famously, they won a contract for supply to U.S. personnel serving in Afghanistan and Iraq. They became kind of iconic within the GWAT era. All my GWAT bros in the comments, comment below with your favorite Rippet energy drink. I was a zero sugar guy. But you can see it's got a ton of vitamin C, 200% of your B6, and 800% of your vitamin B12 in a 16-ounce serving, as well as taurine, caffeine, and guarana seed extract. Sometimes it had sugar, sometimes it had nothing. But the average can, 160 milligrams caffeine, about 2 shots of coffee. 100 milligrams would be in the small 2-ounce version, the like little mini cans. But it was a hugely popular, widely consumed, and actually kind of iconic. One Army staff sergeant said, quote, over 3/4 of military personnel are drinking this stuff on the regular. The brand, of course, highlighting its support for the United States military in its marketing. But that's the takeaway. The U.S. military just could not get enough of this. And it was obvious, right? You have to, when you are on an intense combat schedule, energy drinks make a lot of sense. And it's funny, there's actually been a meme going around about white monsters. And the reason, let's see, particularly among military creators. Let's see if I can find it here. You can literally search for meme white military monster. Doctors and normal people saying energy drinks are not for breakfast. And there's junior enlisted being terrified of it. 30-year-old boomer loving their white monster. For less than the price of a can of white monster and dip a day, you can support a Canadian Armed Forces member in need. When Ilana looks squared away between the evil mafia. Okay, that's just funny. The perfect breakfast doesn't exist. Security forces, guy carrying 3 cans of energy drinks. I love the fact that these are all pixelated. Right? What kind of idiot would eat a Tide Pod? That's so bad. Also me. This is probably considered one of the iconic Rippet moments. This is a crashed Osprey in what looks like Afghanistan. And here's a proud Marine with his can of Rippet and a cigarette, which is absolutely 100% the kind of fuck it attitude that I think Rippet embodied. And again, it's hard to understate how much people love these things. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that energy drinks are good for you, that they're the best choice. Guess what? If you put in a bunch of packets of sugar into a coffee, you can achieve basically the same effect and not have all that weird shit in there, plus none of the carbonation. But guess what? A canned energy drink, you can just stuff that stuff in your cargo pockets. I did it. 2 of those things jangling around in your cargo pocket. You just pop them, pound them. Yeah, it's lukewarm in Afghanistan. I bet those things are pretty good, actually, in the spring, when they stay kind of cool if you keep them outside, but they're warm in when you're in a bunker. I bet that hits just right. But the point is that the convenience has a huge, huge perk for soldiers. And soldiers, man, they just don't care. They just don't care. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Oh, no, that's not all I had. Drinking Rippets traumatized me. That's the important thing. They were so gross. Like warm Rippets, dude, are so, so disgusting. I actually made a better version of this. Like, I think it's so much better. I'm actually considering sending it to some of the soldiers in Ukraine. It's called Strike Gum Energy. 90 milligrams of caffeine in every single piece. 100 milligrams of alpha GPC. That's it. 0 sugar. Mint flavor. This pack has the equivalent of 5 Monster Energies worth of caffeine. Each piece has the caffeine of a Monster Energy. But it's 0 sugar. And it's available at strikegum.com, or Strike Gum's available on Amazon. So check it out. If you want the veteran discounts and the first-time user discounts and all that stuff, that's available on the website. Amazon, it's Amazon. The price is the price. But you should check it out. Thanks to everybody that's left us the reviews on Amazon. Again, this is made in the USA. Obviously, it's veteran owned. This isn't like a sponsor. This is a company that I own, right? I believe in this, but it's made by Liquid Core in the USA. So you want to check it out. It's a better, higher quality caffeine gum than anything else out there. You'll taste it. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's just better. We use natural caffeine extracted from coffee beans, so you can feel the difference when you chew it. It's just on another level. So check it out, strikegum.com. Anyway, that is all I had. It's the end of the story. Thanks to the Colonel tier members at combatvetnews.com. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Who doesn't love this stuff? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.